Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a really focused, honestly fascinating journey into the intersection of our deepest emotional drivers and astrological placement. We are exploring what's called the lunar compass of service, which breaks down the totally unique dynamics of having your moon in the sixth house. So if you've ever wanted to understand how our hidden internal motivations shape our everyday actions, let's unpack exactly what makes this specific placement tick.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The absolute core thesis of our source material is simple, but man, is it profound. Emotional fulfillment comes from being useful to others. For people with this specific placement, happiness isn't found in grand, abstract achievements, and it's definitely not found in solitary retreats. It's actively grounded in utility. So let's break down exactly how this deep-seated desire to be useful governs their entire emotional world.
Part 1. The internal drive. The need to be needed. The source text makes a really powerful assertion here that I want you to truly absorb. It states that emotional stability depends on feeling useful and needed. Think about that for a second. For individuals with this placement, feeling useful isn't just a nice bonus to their day or, a pleasant hobby. It is the very bedrock of their emotional equilibrium. Without that sense of utility, without feeling that they're actively answering a need, their internal stability actually begins to waver. It's literally a fundamental requirement for their emotional health. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the source outlines this crystal clear, self-reinforcing cycle for their emotional regulation. It begins, naturally, by perceiving people in need around them. This immediately triggers them to actively engage in meaningful service. And the results? Their mood improves and emotional stability is successfully achieved. Engaging in service basically acts as a direct thermostat for their internal emotional weather. Part 2. The external action. The instinct to care. According to the source, this placement defines a very specific archetype out in the real world, the natural caregiver. The text highlights a strong instinct to care for people in daily life situations. But what I really want you to take away from this is where it happens, specifically in family and workplace environments. They don't just wait for a massive crisis to step up. They're the ones naturally organizing the office birthday card or making sure their family members have exactly what they need to start their morning right. It's a constant, everyday application of care. So the crucial point is that this caregiving, it's never seen as a burden or some unwanted chore. The source explicitly notes that emotional satisfaction comes from helping others in need. When they're pouring their energy into assisting someone else, they aren't draining their own cup. They are actually filling it. Helping others is, without a doubt, their primary source of true, deep emotional satisfaction.
Part 3. The vulnerability. The cost of caring.
Now, if you actually have this placement, you might notice this dynamic constantly at play in your own life. The text points out a deep vulnerability here, being highly sensitive to others' stress and emotional struggles. Because their radar is constantly scanning for people who need help, they inevitably absorb the ambient anxiety and pain of the people around them. They don't just see someone struggling. Actually, scratch that. They don't just see it, they feel it on a profound level. And that can be an incredibly heavy emotional load to carry.
This reveals a fascinating tension in the source text. On one hand, you have this beautiful, powerful instinct and desire to help others. But the direct consequence of that is a tendency to prioritize others' needs over personal comfort. This right here is the ultimate vulnerability for the sixth house moon. Their drive to serve is so incredibly strong that their own boundaries often get pushed straight to the bottom of the priority list.
Part 4. Grounding forces. Comfort in the routine.
While some people might find daily chores, strict schedules, or repetitive responsibilities incredibly boring or restrictive, the source text reveals something completely different for this group. It states that comfort is found in routine service and responsibility. The predictable nature of everyday tasks provides a safe container for their emotional energy. It grounds them. When the emotional weight of caring for others becomes just too chaotic, returning to the simple, structured rhythm of a daily routine brings them profound comfort and peace.
Part 5. The ultimate reward. Finding personal fulfillment.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate alchemy of displacement. When they engage in external acts of support, nurturing, and assistance, it isn't just a one-way transaction. It actually triggers a deep internal result. Emotional bonding happens, and their own personal fulfillment grows. Their service is the very mechanism through which they connect with humanity and find their own life's purpose. So bringing all these insights together, we get these concrete pathways to fulfillment for a moon in the 6th house, whether it's actively helping those in need, engaging in meaningful service, providing quiet acts of support, maintaining those grounding routines, or just offering nurturing and assistance. Each of these is a necessary road to their emotional happiness. This is literally their compass.
Which leaves us with this final vital question. If your emotional stability entirely depends on feeling needed and you are constantly prioritizing others, who is taking care of you? It's a really delicate balance between a life of beautiful service and the absolute necessity of personal comfort. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.